Hi guys, does the election result in Caerphilly point to the end of Labour in Wales and the Conservatives too? Or is it just a flash in the pan, a blip, and that people will return to the Conservatives and Labour in the future? Well, Sir John Curtice, the polling expert, was interviewed by the BBC about this. Have a listen.
Clearly, the big question we were asking of this by-election was it really the case that a Labour Party that UK-wide is now at a record low of 20% in the opinion polls, and which in Wales saw its vote fall back last year, not least because of discontent with its record in Cardiff, particularly with respect to the NHS, did that mean that it was really the case, as some opinion polls have suggested, that Labour are potentially on course to come third in the Senate election next May in a part of the country where once upon a time you didn't really bother to count the vote, you just weighed it. Labour were so dominant. That firm, clear answer from Caerphilly to that question is yes, it could happen. Labour's share of the vote was just 11%. It fell by 35 points. That's the biggest drop that Labour have ever suffered in a by-election in Wales. Labour are in severe trouble in Wales, and it just confirms the broader UK story that the challenge to both Labour but also the Conservatives, who got just 2%, those two traditional dominating parties of our politics, that challenge is fundamental.
Okay, so let's leave the Conservatives, but let's focus on Labour here. Is Labour finished in Wales? Well, it sounds like they are. But we have to go back to where Labour came from in Wales. They received a lot of support from the miners, from workers, from the cities. While Plaid relied on most of its support from the rural areas. But that has changed now. People are leaving Labour to vote for Plaid. They're leaving Labour to join and vote for Reform. And they're abandoning the Conservatives completely. So I think what we're going to see over the next number of years, at least next year anyway, we're going to see a realignment. We're going to see a significant increase in support for Plaid and Reform. But we're also going to see the same happening in Scotland. We're going to see more support for the SNP and Reform as well. And this is going to damage, of course, the Conservatives and Labour. See, Labour, I think, have a massive problem with Keir Starmer. They need to replace him. They need to bring in somebody who can appeal to the working class. This is Labour's core vote. And I think they have abandoned it over the last number of years. They need to win those people back. They need to have somebody who can speak to the working class, somebody who understands the working class, and somebody who can present policies that benefit the working class. I keep saying, in order to stay in power, you need to improve the situation for ordinary people. And you need to communicate that you are responsible for that. And Keir Starmer is not doing that. Some of the policies they're putting through benefit working people, but they're not communicating that to those working people, to that working class. So they need to re-engage. They need to start listening to working class people, understand their concerns. Because if they don't, they're going to lose more and more support to other parties. I'm not saying that Labour is dead, but it may spend some time in the wilderness before coming back and perhaps winning power once again. But they're going to have to come up with a vision, and I think their vision is the working class. They have to represent the working class people. That has to be their core vote. That's who they have to be focusing on. The Conservatives are starting to realise that their base is, middle class, elderly people who own their own homes, people who are a little bit better off than most others, so that if they focus on those individuals, they can hold on to some support. They're losing it, of course, to Reform, but that could change over the next number of years. But when it comes to Wales, I think if we look at Labour's history, it needs to return, it needs to go back to that history, it needs to understand that history in order to win back support. Otherwise, they're going to have their lunch eaten by Plaid. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what do you think, and I'll see you in the next video.